Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, students. Within 2 minutes, we will start this webinar. Most of the students had joined.
Every new day brings a fresh opportunity. It brings new hope. It shades new light on old problems, a new chance for a new beginning again during this pandemic. It is good to take a little time to thank God before we commence further. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagnashadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalaneyanam Yogi Hridyanagamyam Vandem Vishnu Bhavabhayahara Sarva Lokeikanatham. With these words, a pleasant afternoon to all of you participants, including resource persons. Today, I, Shrikant T. Nair, a learning facilitator come faculty at Lakshya College of Hotel Management, takes this opportunity to welcome you all to the webinar, Impact of COVID-19 on Hospitality Operations Worldwide. I would like to thank the management of GEETA Group of Institutions, our Honorable Chairman, Madam Secretary, Honorable Vice Chairman, Honorable Principal, for giving me this platform to speak. I would request our Honorable Principal to open the webinar.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Nimisa also, I think, has joined the webinar. Mr. Umakant will join within 30 minutes. And the other participant of this webinar, I would like to thanks to the resource person. They have spared this valuable time, and definitely our students and the other participant of the webinar will learn so many things which are right now uh, changes adopted by the hospitality industry. What are the practices in the hygiene part, in the food preparation and the guest handling? So this is the topic chosen by the management of the Lakshya College of Hotel Management, so that we can discuss the things. And thanks to the again to respected my senior also, Mr. Rajiv Kumar Ahlawat, and his team, Mr. Some other eminent personality is also joining with them. So thanks very much. So I would like to start this webinar without any delay. So please,
Thank
Srikanth,
you so
please.
much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank
This
you.
webinar has been organized to discuss all these and many more issues which may occur during the current situation of COVID-19 in the global tourism and hospitality industry. Eminent speakers, researchers, managers, executive chefs from the industry and society have been invited to present their views and discuss the opportunities, threats, strengths, and weakness of the topic. I hope you have an engaging and enriching session ahead. So let me just take this opportunity to welcome and introduce our first resource person of the day, Madam Nimisha Suraj. It is an honor for me to welcome Ms. Nimisha Suraj on behalf of Lakshya College of Hotel Management, GGI Panipat. Ms. Nimisha Suraj is a food safety specialist currently working as HSEQ manager with Compass Group, a British multinational company, largest contract food service company of the world, employing over 5 lakh people. Madam's technical expertise is in biotechnology with specialization in food science. She is an alumni of PES, People's Education Society, Bangalore, and Glasgow Caledonian University, Scotland, United Kingdom. She also acquired professional certifications under HACCP level 2 and 3 in both manufacturing and catering under British standards. Food Safety Supervisor Manufacturing and Advanced Catering certifications awarded by Fostock FSSAI standards. It is a pleasure for all of us to have such eminent resource person among us. We all are keen to hear from you, ma'am. Thank you for taking out your valuable time for your busy schedule to share your thoughts with us. Once again, I welcome you, ma'am. Madam Nimisha Suraj.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. You are.
All right. So, first of all, I'd like to apologize for my video. I'm having some network connectivity issues, so I switched it off for better connectivity.
No issues, ma'am. No issues.
All right. So, thank you so much for the introduction. I appreciate that. So, yes, my name is Nimisha, and I just like to talk about some of the additional hygiene precautions that we've had to take in the hospitality sector, particularly the catering sector. I'll just get started. Okay, so as everybody knows, COVID-19 is a coronavirus. It's classed as a coronavirus, and as you all know, it is highly contagious, and it spreads through respiratory droplets. As far as we know, and as far as research by the CDC and WHO have told us, it does not spread through food items, or it does not spread through food. However, there is research that is coming up that is saying that there are certain animals who, which are being infected with COVID-19, but there is very little research, and we'll have to wait a little more to look into that. Okay. So first and foremost, if you can go to the next slide. Right, great. Okay. So first and foremost, I'd like to start with contactless payments. So one of the main reasons why COVID-19 is spreading like wildfire right now, considering we are in the second wave, is due to human and human contact. So our first and foremost, our priority should be to reduce that as much as possible. So especially in the tourist industry and in the catering sector, there's a lot of interaction with the customer that we have to do in regards to handing over food, exchanging payment and other transactions. So how do we reduce the contact between two people in these situations? So the first one would be contactless payment. So we have a lot of apps that have come out nowadays, such as Google Pay, Phone Pay, and things. So it is encouraged to use those kinds of apps, to do cash transactions, to avoid contact. Uh, Another would be avoid physical cash transactions overall, because obviously, cash is a physical object that could be passed between so many different people, and there's a higher chance and a higher risk of contamination through touching something like that. Another one would be, where possible, install plexiglass barriers or acrylic glass barriers between the customer and the staff. So this could be anywhere in, for example, if you're dealing with a buffet line, through the buffet line. It could be at the cash register, or it could be basically anywhere where there is an interaction between your staff and the customer. So this basically gives protection to your staff uh, and to the customer as well. So there's only very little interaction between the two. Preferably, if there's a cash transaction or if there's a passing of credit cards or something like that, it's always preferable to have the customer pass the card, um, slide it across to the staff rather than handing it over by hand. Of course, this is an extra precaution. Um, Another would be, of course, frequent training of all staff. So training of staff should occur at least on a weekly basis, preferably on a daily, to make sure that they are up to date on all COVID-19 regulations, COVID-19 guidelines, because of course, this is a virus that there's not a lot of research on, because it's quite new. So it's very important to keep the staff updated as well. If there are any changes in your standard operating procedure, if there are any changes in the chemicals that you are supposed to use to clean. And of course, effective communication to all customers, where the customers know that these are the precautions that we are taking in order to keep you safe, in order to keep our staff safe, because that also builds, customer trust in you, in the company, because they know that they're in a safe space where they can, experience our products without the fear of contracting any virus. Thank you. You can move on to the next slide, please. So these are some points that I would say basically everybody does know already. These are basic points that everybody has been following since last year, since the start of the pandemic. But I'll just quickly go through them as a refresher, I suppose. As I mentioned, COVID-19, it doesn't spread through food and water. It requires a human host or an animal host to survive. Of course, there is very little data to, kind of pinpoint which kind of animal hosts, and if there is anything that we can do in that regard. So we're still waiting on more solid research over there. In terms of how to prevent the spread of COVID-19 or what we can do as a part of the catering sector would be give a lot of importance to food handler hygiene, which is frequent hand washing. So to train and encourage our staff to wash their hands very frequently, between operations, at least on an hourly basis, and to make sure that they're using appropriate soap, appropriate sanitizer, and appropriate hand drying techniques. So they should be using disposable tissues, or they should be using hands-free hand dryers. So hand sanitizers also should have an alcohol content of above 70% for effectiveness. So if in case you are acquiring chemicals, for sanitization against COVID-19, it's very important to verify whether the chemicals are actually going to be effective, because there are a lot of hand sanitizers out there that have very little alcohol content. So using them will be kind of pointless because it's not going to have any effect. So verifying that is quite important. Then, of course, effective use of PPE and respiratory hygiene. So our PPE includes masks, gloves, face shields, and disposable aprons. So this PPE is recommended for all staff that is, facing the customer, dealing with the customer, as well as inside, the kitchen, the factory, or any food space where you are dealing with food. This is mainly to prevent the contamination of the food item, and of course to keep the other people in the food area safe as well. According to recent CDC guidelines, it is recommended that we use two masks, which they have termed as double masking, which is where you basically wear one mask and wear another one on top of the previous mask, and then continue with your activities. This is apparently supposed to be an extra precaution, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, because of course there are a lot of variants out there, and there are double mutant strains, and it's basically getting more and more dire out there. So we need to be extra cautious in order to keep ourselves and everybody around us. And of course, respiratory hygiene, this is a new term that came out last year at the start of the pandemic, which means that the usage of masks, or basically to prevent the spread of respiratory droplets accidentally, uh, we use the term respiratory hygiene. Again, like I said, double masking has been recommended by the CDC. So this is how we can maintain respiratory hygiene. Yeah, next, can you move on to the next slide, please? Great, thank you. Okay. So another, I would say, extremely important point, especially during the second wave of COVID, is we need to train all our staff to report if they are feeling unwell. So if they have any kind of symptoms in regards to COVID-19, they should immediately report it to the concerned authorities, who can take proper precautions. So with the first wave of COVID, we had pretty common symptoms such as fever, sneezing, coughing, loss of taste and smell, etc. So again, these are symptoms to look out for with yourself as well as with your staff. Also with your customers as well, which I will come to shortly. So before that, I wanted to add that with the second wave of COVID-19, there are some new symptoms that have come out, which are apparently indications that you are suffering from COVID-19. So some of the new symptoms are conjunctivitis, which is commonly known as pink eye. So if you're having some sort of eye infection, that could be an indication that you have COVID-19. So that is also a symptom that needs to be considered here. And stomach pain and diarrhea which commonly known as loose motion, have also been included as symptoms as part of the second wave of COVID. So if you or your staff are suffering from any of these symptoms, you have to report it to the concerned authorities and make sure that they undergo a 14-day self-quarantine. So this 14-day self-quarantine has come in because the onset time of COVID-19 is currently 14 days, 2 weeks. By onset time, I mean the time the time which it takes for a virus to infect the body and for the body to exhibit symptoms. So between day 1 and day 14, at any time, somebody who has been infected with COVID-19 could show symptoms. So they are required to self-quarantine for 14 days. In terms of customer interaction, preferably they should be instructions for the customers to stay at home if they are experiencing symptoms. There could be a method by which the body temperatures of the customers entering the facility could be checked, and their entry could be restricted if they have a body temperature of more than 99 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, this depends from facility to facility, but it is highly recommended that this be done to prevent the spread of COVID-19 as such. And of course, this is where communication becomes really important, because the customers need to know that before entering the facility, that these are the requirements, and if in case you are suffering from temperature, you are suffering from symptoms, you will not be allowed inside the facility. So from my previous and personal experience, if you communicate to the customer effectively, saying that these are some of the ground rules, there will generally not be any kind of backlash, and they will be happy to go along with your rules, which is why communication is. And of course, social distancing. Social distancing means maintaining a distance of a minimum of 6 feet between two people. This prevents the spread of respiratory droplets between one person and the next, effectively nullifying the spread of COVID-19. And one way of promoting social distancing effectively would be posting stickers or decals on the floor and measuring them out to 6 feet, in order to let people know, or let the customers know that, hey, these are the spots that you are supposed to stand in to maintain social distance, if in case you're having trouble accurately measuring out 6 feet during your transaction. So this kind of labeling is applicable, I would say, in the areas where customers are going to be present, as well as inside the back-end food spaces where your employees will be working as well, because social distancing between all the employees and all the customers is also quite important. Okay. So lastly, I come to the sanitization and receiving process precautions. So obviously, sanitization rules and receiving process SOPs, all over the globe have changed. It's not only in India or not only with certain companies. So I'm just going to go through a couple of changes that have happened recently over the pandemic. So in terms of receiving process, what has happened with the receiving process is that during the receiving process, there are a lot of invoices and purchase orders that are exchanged between the vendor and the supplier and the company. So it is recommended that these things go paperless and become online transactions, or invoices to be sent online and checked online. So that is one. Another is once products are received from the supplier, that they be sanitized thoroughly. So if you're receiving products in bulk, such as dal and rice and things like that, which come in these large 5, 10 to 25 kilo packets, it is recommended that these packets be sanitized thoroughly before being taken into your facility, because you never know what kind of areas the supplier might be driving through. So for example, if their route is passing through multiple containment zones, or somebody that they're meeting with is COVID positive unknowingly, so the whole point of this is to reduce risk. So sanitization of all these packets is preferable. Or another process that could be applicable is once uh, items are received from the supplier, you can leave it in one area unattended for 24 hours. And then post 24 hours, you can take the packets and then use them as and when required. So of course, the main reason with the second process is that there's not a lot of space, that a lot of people are dealing with. The space just isn't available for that. So of course, the better option would be to sanitize all your products when they come in. So this is about the receiving process mainly. And lastly, I come to sanitization of workspaces and common touch points. So pre-COVID, there were a lot of SOPs in terms of cleaning and sanitization as to how often you should clean and sanitize, what kind of chemicals you are supposed to be using, and things like that. So these SOPs still apply, but the time intervals have obviously changed. All work surfaces or all preparation surfaces inside the kitchen, inside the cafe, inside the factory, wherever you might be working, it should be sanitized preferably once every hour. And all common touch points should be sanitized every half an hour to every 1 hour. So common touch points refer to, places within your space where a lot of people might be, touching them frequently. So for example, your doorknobs, your support rails, your chiller and refrigerator handles. These are all areas which are commonly, in contact with numerous people, numerous hands. So to prevent that kind of contact and that kind of contamination, using an appropriate sanitizer or chemical to clean that every half an hour or every 1 hour will play a major role in preventing, the spread of COVID-19 in your spaces, and of course, as a result, protect your customers as well. And the chemicals that are preferably used here should be alcohol based or ethanol based, more than 70%. So from my knowledge, there are a couple of chemicals such as Virex, for example, which is a chemical produced currently by Johnson Diversey, which is one of the biggest chemical producers in the world. This chemical is, basically has been made to counteract the effects of, viral agents. So, for example, there have been cases where, a person who is COVID-19 positive, they have been in a food space or in a factory. And, once they have exited the area is when, it comes to light that they have COVID-19. So what do you do in a case like that, where, they have been in a food space and now we need to handle it correctly. So one would be to sanitize all areas with specific chemicals, geared towards antiviral agents. So the word antiviral here is really important. And of course, there are a lot of companies and companies out there that are doing COVID-19 precautionary sanitization, where they use something called a diffuser. And they pour in their antiviral chemical in that, and they use a diffuser to spray, with a faucet kind of device, on all surfaces, and kind of leave it for a couple of hours for it to take effect. So yeah, that's it from my side. I would say I hope everyone stays safe. With the second wave of COVID, things are quite dire in India. So please stay home, please stay safe. And if you have any questions, please, I'm all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. We got a couple of questions that I would take after a couple of minutes. I guess let me just take this opportunity to introduce Executive Chef Rajiv also. I hope sir is with us right now. Okay. Executive Chef Rajiv is also associated with Compass Group. He's the regional head over here. And he's an experienced executive chef with diverse and rich experience in catering operations, food and beverage management, menu development. He's an alumni of the Pioneer Institute of India, that is IHM, CT and AN. Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology and Applied Nutrition. He's associated with Arizona State University, and he was also a corporate chef with Pin Baluchi and executive chef with AFP Manufacturing. I take this opportunity, and it is a pleasure for all of us to have such an eminent hospitality personality as a resource person among us. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time from your busy schedule. And we are very lucky to have you here to share your thoughts. Once again, I welcome you to the webinar. Executive Chef Rajiv, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Thank you, Mr. Nair. Thank you, Touch with once again. And my best wishes all of you with all of students of Lakshya Hotel Management Institute. And in this pandemic, I that's my thought. It's there is a lot of challenges in food industry. It's not a event uncounted in the industry in history of humanity because mankind has faced various pandemic in history. The common point of pandemic in their serious negative effort on the global economy. Considering the food industry, one of the most important sector of the economy, it has been that COVID-19 has an impact on the whole process from the field to the consumer in the light of recent challenges in the food industry. There is now considerable concern about the food production, processing, distribution, and demand. COVID-19 resulted in the moment restrictions of workers, changes in demand of consumers, in closure of food production facilities, restricted food trade policies, and financial pressure in the food supply chain. But this impact for a short time. I believe once again that industry is boom and have a lot of opportunity for all students and all workers who have been working with food industry. The pandemic, definitely the pandemic have some changes in food and industry, the operations in food industries. But yeah, that's a lot of opportunity also in future. The style of working in food industry is slightly changed after COVID-19 because a lot of pressure on the worker who prepare the food, for chefs, for everybody in the food industry. That they have a lot of pressure on it. This, but it's for a short time. After this, yeah, the people focusing on the hygiene food, the healthy food, right? The menu should be changed after pandemic. The people focus on uh, most hygienic food and most immune booster food, right? But don't worry, it's for a short time. The pandemic is for a short time. After this, the industry definitely boom, and everybody get opportunity to work with food industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights and enlightenment thoughts on the topic. Madam Nimisha Suraj and Executive Chef Rajiv, they both were our resource persons for this session. Madam and sir, we got some questions on these topics. Can we take the questions?
Yes, of course.
Sure. Okay. Madam, one of the question I have received from a participant is, as you mentioned about the training programs are conducted. Training programs are conducted. What is the normal time duration of these kind of training programs? And what kind of coaching or training method is used for this?
Okay, great. So I would say excellent question.
This question is
So
coming from a student who is currently with the Oberoi Uday Vilas, ma'am. He was
oh,
our
great. Okay.
ex-student. This question is coming from that side. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So in terms of training, I would say in terms of duration, it could be anything. It really depends on the trainer and the trainees. So I would suggest if you're doing a training on a daily basis, and 1 hour long or 2 hour long training is usually not really feasible. So doing a small, maybe 10 to 15-minute briefing would be more feasible on a daily basis. If you are doing a training maybe once a week or once a month, I would say a classroom style setting where you could discuss several topics within the span of an hour would be best. I would not recommend extending a training session for more than 1 hour because it's human nature that you're not able to focus or concentrate for more than 40 minutes to an hour. So it would be unfair for you to expect your employees to pay attention for that long, I would suggest. And in terms of the method, training methodology, um, I would say more effective than giving a presentation and explaining that. I would say would be to pick out real life examples. During your production day or during your operation day, kind of pick an example and start your training by explaining that example and explaining why that why this particular incident that happened today was a good thing or was a bad thing, or how it affects your customers, how it affects your colleagues. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Uh, so let me just move to our next speaker. I'm honored to have Mr. Umakant Upadhyay, General Manager from Nigeria. Let me just take a few minutes to introduce Sir. He's an experienced hospitality professional with expertise in hotel operations and management, sales in hospitality and team building, an alumni of Pioneer Institute from India, the Institute of Nutrition. Under his current assignment, Sir is associated as General Manager with BWC Hotels at Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. In his previous assignments, Sir was associated with Ibeto Hotel, Abuja, Nigeria, Country Club and Atlantis Club, Orange County, Kabini, Goldwater, Kumarakam, Kerala, and JP Group of Hotels. It is an immense pleasure for all of us to have such an eminent hospitality professional as a resource person among us. Thank you for taking your valuable time, sir. And as we know that you are having an important meeting also scheduled today. So without taking further, sir, it's for you.
Thank you, Naya. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for having me here. Though the meeting came very late and I could not spare more time for this cloud meeting, which was scheduled before. And Miss Suraj have spoken a lot of things about hygiene, about store handling, food handling, and that's a normal norms now. COVID normal is normal for now. We can't say now this COVID is over, so we can go back to our cleaning habits, what we were having before COVID-19, and it's having a good impact on us also. Let me assure everyone, the after hospitals, hotels, they are the most safest place because hotels, they follow very high standard of cleaning, handling, everything. And we are the most affected person after airline and all those industries. Now, new normal, I'm saying now we are working towards the paperless direction. Right now we are having paperless check-in. So check-in is 100% paperless. Then we are moving towards paperless dining. No restaurant menu card, no bar menu card, no writing of BOT and TOTs, and that one is giving us a more relaxed season in terms of having too many manpower also, and 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 the another thing, we are going for self-service direction also in food and beverage, in reception area, in bar lounge area, in bar area. We are working towards self-service direction. And that one is the new WHO protocols also. I'm sure Ms. Suraj must have spoken about WHO protocols. She is more to that one. But we, from hotel side also, we are following WHO protocols as per their suggestion and guidelines. I have told you paperless check-in. I have told you self-service area. I have told you paperless menus. Now buffet management, cleaning habits of your room, your public area, your dining area. Uh, uh, you have received information on that one also. Staff hygiene, another big concern for us right now, and that one must be a top quality in the hotel industry. Then COVID-19 declaration online. That one, lots of hotels started here. I don't know about India. They must declare themselves online for COVID positive or negative. Then washing, safety, washing, and all those things. Ms. Suraj have spoken about that one. Then recreation area. Recreation area is another major source of distributing not only COVID-19, any kind of disease. So when we are operating with recreation area, your gym, pool, lounge, kids play area. So we have to be very, very careful, and all safety norms. COVID-19 protocol must be followed there also. Then touch points. I heard what Ms. Suraj was saying. Touch points, they are different as per the area. For store touch points are different, for room touch points are different, reception and restaurant touch points are different. So when we are in a public area, touch points are like your lift buttons, your reception counter, your door handles. So, what product we are going to use? Diversity products. They are the best, as it was mentioned before. So I'm not going deep into that one. Then health and safety officer. All the hotels, all good hotels, they have health and safety officers, and their role is very important nowadays. Since COVID started, not nowadays, since COVID started, they are the gem of the hotel. So we must consider their advice very seriously because they are the expert of this area. And health and safety officers, they are certified here. They are certified by Ministry of Health, and we must, by law, we must listen to another thing is diffuser. It was mentioned. Diffuser here in this part of world, we are using them in the banquet. We are using them in the restaurant. We are using them in the reception area. We are using them in the lounge area. So diffuser is really way forward. We can see the impact also. Diffuser is not something okay. Now you can manage without it. It's a part of your normal norms now. So let us see how it goes. And the physical, another major point is physical screening from the gate to your lobby area and up to the room. Physical screening by the staff. By seeing some guests, you can analyze they are safe or they are not comfortable or whatever it is. It could be from any reason. After physical screening from the gate, then comes thermal screening, right? After thermal screening, is really important to have communication as per the need with the concerned department. So these are the new norms, I will say, and most of the hotels here they are following here in Nigeria, and there are another maintenance safety guidelines also there, like putting on the ACs when and when maintenance staff they are going in the rooms, they're supposed to have PPE kit, not everything, but yes, some of them like face mask, eye cover, gloves, and their protective gear. So let us see how it goes. Here we are going to normalization. Here cases are not much, less than 100 in a day, and vaccination is in the process. So I wish all of you stay safe and take vaccine seriously and follow the guidelines. That's all. Thank you very much. I will not be able to take any questions because of my meeting. So my apology for that one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing your valuable time. It was nice having you here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the meantime, I would like to also introduce one of our guest participant, Executive Chef Shushant. He's a regional head of Compass Group, an experienced chef who is having almost 2 decades of experience in hospitality catering operations, food and beverage operations, and menu development. He is an alumni of Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology and Applied Nutrition, PUSA, and also associated with Arizona State University, and previously worked with several cruise lines and other eminent hospitality organizations. I thank you, sir, for being part of this program with us. Let me just continue with a couple of questions with for Madam Nimisha Suraj and Executive Chef Rajiv. Uh, Madam, we also have received a couple of questions. One of them is, as you mentioned about common touch points, where the social distancing has to be maintained. So what is the method now which is followed in multinational organizations for the attendances? Because earlier they used to go primarily with the thumb impression and all. So how the biometric attendances are going on nowadays?
Okay, great. So that's a good question, I would say, first of all. And secondly, with the onslaught of the pandemic, biometric, attendance systems have been abandoned. Mainly because it is a common touch point, and sanitizing that as much as possible. It is possible, but it would better mitigate risk if that is abandoned overall. So that's not being done anymore. So there are various attendance systems in place where people can put in their own attendance, or they report directly to the manager before starting their work, and the manager is in charge of taking down attendance. Another way to track it is, we have, there are a lot of organizations where there are self-help declaration forms, which each employee is, requested to fill out at the start of their shift, basically detailing their health condition at the start of the day. So that is also being used to, track attendance shift-wise.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. This is a specific question from kitchen operations. So I would be happy if sir could answer. Executive Chef Rajiv, sir. Sir, the question goes, what are the challenges in the kitchen you're facing when you take students or new trainees over there during these times?
Yeah, it's a very, very good questions. Uh, not a not a challenges which we are taking as an opportunity, right? It's the main problem. The train the staff against the COVID-19 to how to take store from the how to take the issues items from the store. It's make it paperless. So first we trained the staff towards, so from the day one to make it happen to this, to make a practice of this. So maintain social distancing, or change your gloves, your mask frequently, wash your hands frequently. When you touch any surface, anything, just wash your hand, or just change your gloves, right? So yeah, this some organizations is suspended the training program for trainees, but uh, for my organization, yes, we open for it, and we train the staff to do the work for the COVID-19, especially for COVID-19.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh, Madam Suraj, I got one more question for you. This question is coming from Nepal, from one of our students, Sandeep Pandey. This question states, as you mentioned about onset timing during the presentation, could you please explain, madam, once again, what is onset timing? Onset time, I guess it is the right term.
Okay. Right. I'm audible, yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Um, so onset time is, it's, I would say, a biological term. It's basically defined as the amount of time it takes um, from the point of infection to the point where a person starts to develop symptoms for the particular infection. So when I say the onset time of COVID-19 is between 1 to 14 days, once a person has been infected, it takes between 1 day to 14 days for the person to exhibit symptoms of COVID-19. So there are cases, of course, where throughout the quarantine period, people are not, displaying symptoms. As a matter of fact, if you speak regionally, about 98 to 99% of the COVID-19 cases that have been reported in the region of Bangalore are all asymptomatic, which means that nobody is exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19. But of course, the quarantine period is still important, to be completed to protect everybody around the positive person. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I have one question. Actually, it is for Mr. Upadhyay. As he's not here, I would like to direct this question to Executive Chef Rajiv, if he could answer. Sir, this question is about what is the standard operating procedure in the five-star hotels where we have, suppose, a guest becomes COVID positive, who is staying currently. If he becomes COVID positive, what actually the SOP which you follow over there?
Uh, Mr. Nair, because right now we are not in five-star hotel, so not updated the current
Yes, sir.
scenario,
Yes, sir. I
right?
can understand.
But yeah, I can I can guess.
Yes,
So
sure, sir. Sure.
in my situation, in my scenario, in my department, in my company, I take an example. If somebody found that somebody infected, or there is somebody uh, as a symptoms of COVID-19, so
Yes.
we immediate just clear the area, just remove everybody from this area and sanitize, right? And if possible, if we have a room, a particular room, isolation room, we shift into the isolation room, and we just identify the people who touch direct or indirect with that area or that person. So we immediate also isolated that people also. And yeah, RT-PCR test is mandatory for all uh, contact with that particular guest, and take a precautions, all this. And
Thank you
Nimisha,
so
if
much.
you have any idea for five-star hotels, that any guideline do you have to so please share. Yeah, Nimisha.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. No issue, sir. Actually, this question was for actually the sir from Nigeria, but as he has
Okay, okay.
some other meeting, so he could not continue with
No, no, no.
us.
Yeah,
Anyway, thank you so
yeah.
much, sir.
Is
Thank you.
so he's in hotel also. They are also following the same procedure. The
Thank you, sir.
immediate clear the area, the sanitize the area, and the immediate shift into the isolation rooms, and take all precautions.
Fine, sir. Fine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, may I request our honorable principal, sir, to give the vote of thanks for this webinar, Dr. Sushil Kumar Mishra.
First of all, from my side, Chef Rajiv, he has also spared his very valuable time. Even I came to know his mother is also affected by this COVID-19 and she is suffering right now. But he is spared, so I would be very much thankful to Mr. Rajiv, and he has always supported us regarding any kind of the guideline or any kind of the support. So I'm very thankful to Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Rajiv. Anytime. Thank you. I
Rajiv
love you so
Kumar
much. I love.
Alawas.
Thank you.
And uh, I would like to thank to Miss Nimisa Suraj also. She has taken a wonderful presentation and guided our students what are the impacts are there and what are the changes. Now hospitality industry is now been there. Now this industry is more hygienic, you can say, and the procedure will continue. So it will make the more healthy food, more hygienic food we will serve to the guest. And I would like to thanks to the another speaker, Mr. Umakant Upadhyay. From he spare very busy schedule his time from the very busy scheduled time. Actually, without any this thing, he got a meeting yesterday night only. So he has informed me that he will spare only the 5-10 minutes only. He is having a board meeting that is very important, and it was not scheduled earlier when I have taken the time from him. So, but he has told us the international things, what they are doing over there into the Nigeria, what are the other procedures for the guest handling, the contactless handling, contactless check-in, check-out payments, and the self-service areas also he has told in this webinar. So I would like to thanks to Mr. Umakant Upadhyay, and Chef Sushant also has taken the participation. So I would like to thanks to Mr. Sushant, and I would like to thanks to Mr. Shrikant and Ms. Renu who organizes this webinar. I would like to thanks to Mr. Vivek Kumar Gupta for giving us the very technical support from the back end side and the designing of the posters, and the other staff who technically and who has given us support for the attending. And thanks to the all my students who were the pass out, but also they have taken participation into this thing. So thanks for the participation to all the people. After all, I just wanted to say one thing. The COVID-19 is a virus, and it has came and impacted lots the this one industry. But I'm sure 100% the life will go on, and the life is there in the hospitality industry. So in hospitality industry will come out of this pandemic effect, and definitely it will grow up. It was the earlier the fastest growing industry, so it will get this kind of the again fastest growing. It will go fast because it is related to the your life. So thank you, Mr. Shrikant, and everybody. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. So, by this, we conclude our program. I thank the host organization, all my fellow faculty members, dear students, and the wonderful experts, those who shared their insights and valuable thoughts on this occasion. Thank you all. Thank you all.